How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Mojo Grip. Today I am at Sun and Fun, and this is a plane I've been waiting to check out and also review for you guys. Stay tuned. We're going to check out the VL3 with the new 916 engine. We are at the booth of JMB here at Sun and Fun, and just to show you, they've got the 916 here, they've got the Evolution over there, and then you have the VL3 with the 915 engine, which we'll talk about and probably check that out separately. But this is the newest product out of Europe from JMB. You've seen videos of this airplane before, but I mean, let me go around it for you. I love the colors on this thing. I can't tell if this is like bloody orange or if it's red. Depends on how the light reflects on it, but I think you get closer to it, it looks more like orange. But while I'm down here, you can see the design of this plane. First thing I notice is the fact that you've got short wheelbase, which I'll talk about that in a little bit. You also see the scoop there, and the fact that this is a retractable landing gear. That's one thing you get with the VL3, and I think one of the selling points of this airplane. But also something that I realized today, look at this little thing right here. This is called the wind gate. Wind gate. I've never really seen one. Maybe I have, but not in these smaller planes. Apparently this plane is so fast that they had to put some extra stuff there for safety, but really to make the plane a much more manageable airplane. And you've got also your stall strip. That's normal with the planes. And you can see here my best part of reviewing these planes, the interior, which I will show you in a little bit, but let's go around it first. But you look at the JMB, the design is similar to what you have or what you've probably seen in the market over the years. Again, this particular bird is lowered to the ground, and you have retractable landing gear. And you see also the flaps. Look how long the flaps of this airplane is. Again, they want you to be able to slow it down when needed, because this is a fast plane. This is not generally your beginner's airplane. One, because it's complex, but also this is a 200 knot airplane. Even though you have a small Rotax engine pulling you forward. So you look at the wing design here. It's not so wide or narrow. It's perfectly in the middle. But what I do notice is that longer flap, and then you have this wind gate here, your ailerons. This is a newer modern airplane, so generally you get your LED lighting. But this is a cool option you get with this airplane. Check this out. So you've got a baggage door. Not that you really need it, because you've got a big door already. So I imagine if you want to put stuff in the back, you can always go through the front there. But I do think this makes it easier to get back here, partly because of the design of the seats. So if you look at these seats, you can see the headrest comes up all the way, so you may not have a lot of room in between. So they made this an option for new pilots or buyer of this plane. And speaking of, this is a completely decked out VL3. You can see you get an oxygen tank here. We'll talk about that. And you also have a system. So this is not just a tank. You have a complete system of tracking your oxygen blood level when you're in flight. And this plane will go high. It's not going to go over like 30,000 feet or anything like that, but for a small plane, you can easily cruise above 12,000 feet and have oxygen. But while I'm here now, let me show you the interior. Don't mind some of the dust in here, but you can see you've got your Garmin suite here. So dual screen G3X touch. You've got a GTN 650. And you've got your autopilot, so you can tell this is an IFR capable aircraft. But more so, you look at that middle console, you see what you're used to seeing, right? You've got your throttle lever. Now this does have a prop lever, so constant speed prop, which I don't know if I showed you that, but we'll go back to the front so you can control the pitch of your prop, the four-bladed prop with this airplane from in here. And depending on your size, I'm not sure how comfortable it will be to pull this thing all the way up to, let's look at how far you can pull it, 55 degrees. So as it is right now, this is 55 degrees of flaps. I'm not sure how far or how comfortable it will be once you're sitting now in these sports seats. Matter of fact, let me go up and show you. So let me show you that seat from in here, so you can look at your sitting position, right? You're literally just sitting deep inside of these seats. They're like sports car, right? And so I don't imagine you will have the nice comfort you want pulling this or pushing this back and forth. But while I'm here, guys, I mean, check out this interior. It's what I call a minimalistic interior. They didn't try to do too much. They do give you some nice color variation here. You can see VL3 Evolution. You've got the red seat belts, all black interior with red stitching. I like it. I think this is a single pilot airplane, but you do have the extra seat if you wanted to carry a passenger, but excuse me. And I'll see if I can get in actually and sit inside and show you. And one last thing I will tell you about while I'm here is the stick, right? So guys, like when you look at airplanes, honestly, when you carefully look at a plane that you can see yourself flying, you have to sit in it and see how comfortable you are. So something that you notice is that the stick on this thing is curved, right? There's a reason for that, and that is to make it more practical when you sit down. I'm not sure what the cabin width for this airplane is, if I can get my gimbal to adjust here, but I hope this is a good shot that you guys are getting. So depending on your size, but you can see this is a pretty comfortable cabin width here. Okay guys, let's get into this bad boy. So the VL3 is already a very low plane to the ground, so you can easily just step up on the wing, and I'll show you here. You basically have your hand over here, you step on, pull yourself up. There is a bar right here, but because I'm holding the camera, I'm just gonna try and put myself in this way. Okay, just bear with me. Okay, we are inside of the VL3, and now I'm gonna tell you how this thing really feels sitting in. Obviously, you get a closer look at the cockpit here. You're probably, if you've watched Mojo Grip long enough, you're used to this setup right here with the dual G3X, and you have your middle stuff here with the GTN and autopilot. But let me turn the camera around and tell you how I feel sitting in this airplane. Here we are, guys. So again, I'm your average standard guy. I can tell you that it is comfortable here, but you are sitting in. These are inclined, very much inclined. And what I was telling you about earlier, if you look at this, let's see if I can see this bar right here. Honestly, you wouldn't really have room if you're on the bigger side to be able to pull this thing like up and down. Now you can probably push it down and maybe get 37 or up to 37 degrees of flaps. But this is definitely something to think about if you're looking at a Johnson bar as an option. For me personally, I think my preference would just be to get an electric gear, and hopefully there's another, you can have like a backup way to pull the gear up and down, which I spoke to JMB earlier, and I think they do have one. So that's an option for this plane. But something cool I want to show you also in this cockpit is, I love that this has been standardized now. Look at this, guys. You now have push to start, and you know, I want to say that the Mojo Sling really put this on the market when it comes to experimental plane, but it really warms my heart when I see more planes or newer planes coming out with push to start. I think it's really neat, particularly if you're flying a Rotax engine. I think it's a no-brainer. The computer is there to do the job for you, so I like that. And so you have your normal switches, your master obviously, and then you've got your push to start. Nothing fancy in the middle. Like I said, you have your throttle, your prop lever, and then your fuel selector. Now, hands on the stick. What I said earlier about the stick being bent, once you sit in here, guys, you're not really sitting bent with your knee. You're kind of sitting straight in. So once you get in this plane and you sit on the chair, your whole leg just goes straight in. And I'm gonna ask if this rudder is adjustable. I'm not sure, but I'll ask them. If it is, that would be great. And I know in the Sparker, which is direct, another option you can look at when you're looking at a JMB is they have an electric switch that helps you bring your rudder back and forth. So JMB, that's something you may want to think about. One last thing I will say is the parachute. Again, this is more commercialized now. It's become more of a common option if you're building a new plane. So you do have a parachute on this plane, but let me step out and give you some numbers, because the parachute you have on this particular plane will be different depending on the kit or the version of the VL3 that you build. All right, let me get out and I'll tell you all about it. So here we are back outside of the VL3. Now I'm gonna share what you really came here for, which is the performance numbers of this plane. As I said in the beginning, this is a true 200 knot airplane. Now that's if you have the power all the way up. And speaking of, let me show you what this thing is sitting on. This is the Rotax 916, just in case you haven't seen one before. Okay, this is the 916. It's a step up from the Rotax 915. Some cool things about this engine: it's a similar size and weight, but you do get more performance out of it, and you also it's a more economical engine. You put this thing in full power, you have 160 horsepower compared to 141 horsepower in the 915. And also, this is a more fuel efficient engine. And one more thing about the 916 is, and probably the most attractive thing about it, is that you have a 2,000 hour TBO. Right now on the 915 you have a 1,200 hour TBO. So I think the 916 will be easily adopted compared to the 915. Your fuel capacity in this planes, you have 36 gallons of fuel, and your useful load, wait for it, this current model is built at the light sport limit. And I hate to use light sport because this plane is nothing even close to a light sport. It's way faster, way more better performance than a light sport. But this maxes out around 1,300 or 1,320 pounds gross. But if you were to order one today, the newer version of these planes will have 1,650 pounds. So you'd really be getting a good 200 pounds more of useful load. So imagine you fill up the airplane with full fuel, you would have a good 588 pounds of payload, way more than you need for a two-seater. So you basically be able to carry 2 full-grown adults, put baggage, and go somewhere and get there fast. Now, how much is all of that going to cost you? This plane, as presented and as fully decked out, you're looking at $425,000. That is the price for the VL3 with the 916 engine. Okay, take that as you may. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Also, if this is your first time, go ahead and subscribe. Don't watch the video, subscribe with the notification bell on. Guys, a great way to support the channel. Please consider becoming a paid member. That goes a long way to get this content out to you. I really appreciate it, and I will catch you all on the next video. Peace.